joy after sorrow. I believe God made the human brain, the mind, to operate in a manner of always looking for things to be better. We may fail, have moments of defeat, and even moments of being oppressed and depressed. However, the Christian, the child of God, our minds and hearts are towards God, and that He always provides joy after sorrow. Therefore, though we may experience things that are sorrowful, we look towards and anticipate that joy will occur. There will be joy after sorrow. Blessings abound. The reason that we celebrate Christmas is because of sin. Sin entered the world, and God had a preordained plan that He would send His Son Jesus Christ into the world to redeem mankind from sin. And therefore, Christmas, the Mass of Christ, the gathering around and about Christ, is because there had to be a response to sin. And so this Christmas, every Christmas, the legitimate one celebrating is the one who is celebrating that Jesus Christ came to forgive me of my sin, to cleanse me from all sin, that I might be reconnected to Him. That's Christmas. Anything else is just a holiday and exchanging gifts. Christmas is about the Christ. Blessings abound. Sin separates, and God desires that we be one with Him. And therefore, Jesus is the response to sin. In Genesis 3:16, I call this the sorrow verse, the verse that deals with the consequences of separation because of sin. The woman would have painful conception and birth. The woman and the man would be separated from God. The woman would have to submit to the man. All these things are painful. Yet God provided a remedy, and the remedy is Jesus Christ. And He came through the womb of a woman. So a woman caused sin, and then a woman was made to carry the sin remover, the Christ child Jesus. So we celebrate Christmas because thanks to Jesus, we no longer have to be separated from God. We worship God now, and we will worship Him in eternity. Merry Christmas and blessings abound. Separation. That's what happens when sin occurs. At the very onset of sin, in the book of Genesis, we see that the result was separation. God would no longer come down and commune with them in the cool of the day. That's separation. The woman now in birth would experience great pain, separation. The woman under the submissiveness, the care of the man, would experience pain because she wants to talk and debate. That's separation. That's the pain of separation. And yet, all of this is really for our protection. For where we went wrong with Eve, we won't go wrong again. And God provides consequences to protect the woman so that she indeed can be reconnected to God. And proof of that is a marriage, is a home, is a family. That's God's plan, the original intent. That's what the enemy doesn't want today and is after to destroy. However, with God, we win. Blessings abound. Aren't you glad that Jesus, before the foundation of the world, had already agreed with the Father that He will condescend, become God, become a human being, and experience all of the failure, the soul realm failure of mankind? That's why in the Garden of Gethsemane, he even prayed to God, Father, if it be possible, let this cup, it's the cup of sin, it's a cup of bitterness. Let this cup pass from me. Then he said, nevertheless. Why? Because he knew he had come to earth to feel all the pain and consequences of sin so that he could take that to the cross, choose to give his life and justify mankind back to the presence of God. That's what Christmas is about. Jesus came to get to the cross of Calvary so that we could get to God one more time. Blessings abound. Eve in Genesis 3:16, she spoke about the fact that the devil beguiled her, that serpent, it beguiled her, it tricked her. Listen, the same serpent, devil, Satan that beguiled Eve is doing the same thing today. That's why we have so much sin that is legalized, that is deemed to be normal. That's the beguiling effect of the devil. What is right is what God calls right. If you are tempted to be separated from God through sin, understand this: a way has been made for you that you don't have to give heed to the subtle serpent. You can remain sanctified because of what Jesus Christ did in giving his life a ransom for all. Blessings abound. The pain of childbirth ought to remind you that there is always pain in separation. The initial pain was when God had to escort or usher out Adam and Eve out of his presence, out of the garden. Now there's another garden, the Garden of Gethsemane, when Jesus decided that yes, for the cost of sin, he would take upon that curse, nail it to the cross, so that you and I could one more time be united with God. You don't have to stay separated. You can be joined to God. Make the choice today to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And then truly you will have a Merry Christmas. Blessings abound. Separation from God, childbirth, and a woman who has to submit to a man. All of that is sorrow. Yet that sorrow should remind you that you need to be joined, reconciled to God by Jesus Christ. So every time a woman gives birth ought to be a reminder that separation doesn't feel good. It is not good. So why don't you choose to not be separated from God? It is God that will yield you the joy after sorrow. Sorrow may happen, but it does not have to stay. It does not have to be your mindset or your heart set. You don't have to stay depressed. Experience it, but know that Jesus Christ gave his life so that you could experience the joy after the sorrow. Blessings abound.